A very welcome back to DXB today. Tonight we are exploring a conversation that really matters. What happens when women lead and everybody is happy? Tonight our next guest is a communications and media leader, humanitarian and TEDx speaker, the list goes on, known for empowering brands and women through storytelling and of course leadership. Welcome to the show, Mariam Farag. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm amazed, being with amazing people here, so inspiring, each one of you. So thank you for having me.
Wow, of course. First things first, Mariam, and I asked this to Sade when she came onto the show. What inspired you to truly get into this space? Because what we speak about is this is no longer a movement. This is no longer a trend. This is here to stay. Women in leadership. What for you stands out and what really got you into the space?
Well, to be honest, women in leadership for me has always been a homegrown story. I grew up with a single mom, so it was natural to me to see that my mother was thriving in the 70s in Egypt as a business owner, as a single mom, and really hustling to put food on the table and to manage to educate and to support 3 kids. So I grew up knowing that I will be naturally going into the landscape of leadership, business, corporate, whatever it was. But when I was 14, I knew my why. I wanted to help people. I got into volunteer work and with orphans back home in Cairo, where I'm originally from, and I realized that telling stories, authentic storytelling, communicating with the less privileged, and making sure that you interact with them gives you hope, and they actually give you hope through their stories. So that's how I got into the landscape of communication and women in leadership. And I'm extremely, extremely passionate about storytelling since I was very, very young.
Yeah, wow.
So I love that you mentioned your experience with your mother. I also shared a little bit about my mom and her role as a mentor, and my mom's name is also Mariam, so there's another connection there. Mariam, one of the things that I love that you share about is the idea of humanizing the person behind the brand. And I always say that you have a brand whether you are aware of it or intentional about it or not. What's been your journey in, firstly, creating an incredible brand yourself, but also when it comes to helping other women, what blocks them and how do you help them, or what are the tools or the techniques that allow them to then be comfortable with being more visible?
Well, to be honest, humanizing brands was originated during COVID, because I realized that in 2020 we all needed some or a lot of humanity. And at that time I had been in the landscape for 20 years, helping leaders but also corporates communicate their brand with purpose and really try to find and dig into their why. Why did they create the brand? Why are they out there speaking to people, etc. So naturally, I went into the landscape of why do women lack communicating themselves, and why are they shy to celebrate their wins and celebrate their successes? And it's naturally because we feel that we don't deserve it. We are shying away or scared to say that it was me, and naturally it goes into we did, not I did. They're afraid to have a voice into the meeting room. They're afraid to have a seat at the table. So I worked with mentoring a lot of women, mainly young ones, so I can nurture them to have a voice and to say, you know what, it's okay to celebrate your wins. It's okay to say that you have achieved X, Y, or Z. Because when it comes to men, and no disrespect to you whatsoever, and I have 2 boys, so I do understand, I'm surrounded with masculinity around me. Men are not afraid to celebrate their wins, and they actually boast about things that they don't even know a lot about. While we always shy away from having a voice, and we're worried most of the time that we're gonna ask the wrong question or answer in a silly way. And that's why it really pushed me towards working with a lot of women to give them a voice, because they have it, they just need to use it, and to shape their story to communicate with more real people to inspire others.
It's truly fascinating because, as you said, like I'm the only male here, and with that that boldness, that brashness that men have, it's a camaraderie. We all stick together because we stick together as men because we have to look after each other. Yeah. Women can do it by themselves, but we need other men to just hold us up and get through. You know what I mean? Behind a great man is an even greater woman. It's always been that way, you know, in the background, just doing their thing, you know what I mean? But now to understand that there needs to be more out there. So this is why I want to talk to you about, you're a humanitarian, you're a TEDx speaker, but you're also an author. So let's humanize your brand. It says it on the tin, stand out in a busy digital world. So tell us more about the book.
Let's celebrate Mariam's win.
Let's celebrate your win.
Thank you. Yeah, no, so that was in the making for the last 4 years. And I, naturally, because I'm a woman, I shied away twice. I was worried that I would be into the imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to have a book? Like, what am I gonna say that's not already out there? And you see, so I fell into the trap as well. As a woman in leadership and communication for 25 years, I still went into the trap. That was 4 years in the making, and it's the book mission is all about bringing the human into communication and the digital world. We look at a lot of filters in social media right now. We see things that are not real, and especially with AI coming and not taking over the world, and as you mentioned in the last interview, is that we cannot be afraid of it, we need to embrace it. We need to use it to our own advantage. However, we are slowly losing the humanity in the business. So like I like to refer to it, is it's not the B2B or the B2C, it's the H to H. It's the human to human.
Oh, mic drop.
Cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that.
So it's really a guide for leaders if they want to communicate with authenticity and empathy on personal branding level, or corporates and brands who need to communicate on a human-centric level with their employees, but also their customers. So it's not anymore about your bottom line and the P&L, it's about humanizing your brand to communicate better, and it has an ROI in the end.
Yeah, wow.
This is truly fascinating.
I know.
Right? This is magnificent.
Need to dive into that book, I think.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mariam, for being with us and telling us more about your journey and how to humanize our brands.